Hey everybody, before we jump into today's show, just wanted to let you know that this coming January 8th, we begin our global functional medicine detox. Last year, we had close to 50,000 people from over 27 countries around the world participating. We hope that you are joining us this year. And going on this week, if you want to invite 2 or 3 of your other friends, you can actually buy 3 Equal Life Functional Medicine Detoxes and get 1 free. Saves you $99, so you can either do the 21-day yourself, save a detox for later in the year or next quarter, or split the cost over 4 of your friends. It is the least expensive functional medicine detox on the market with the most efficacy behind it. Plus, you will never spend more on food or anything else than you do with the detox, meaning like the detox is not going to cost you more money. I don't want that to be the number one reason you do it. I want the number one reason you do a functional medicine detox this year is to improve your overall wellness, body transformation, or longevity-based goals. To learn more about a functional medicine detox and join the close to 50,000 people from around the world completing it January 8th, head on over to stevencabral.com/detox. Now, enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified Doctor of Naturopathy, Dr. Stephen Cabral, shares with you exactly how you can reverse aging, take back your health, and live a life full of energy and passion, with new 20-minute episodes every single day to keep you healthy and engaged. Now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
All right, everybody, we are now back with a brand new Cabral HouseCall. This, of course, is part 2 every Saturday and Sunday, trying to answer about 10 to 12 questions from the community. Usually takes about 10 to 12 weeks before your question is read live on the show. Love being able to do that, though, and we answer them in the order they come in. So these ones are coming in from about mid-October, and it is, let's see, episode 2879. So if you want to follow along with today's questions, head on over to stevencabral.com/2879. Can't wait to get in. Let's get started. Audrey is the first question. Let's see what she has to say. It says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I noticed on your resource page, you do not have the Berkey water filter listed anymore. Instead, you have the Aqua True listed. Why is that? It seems like the Berkey is a better choice because it's stainless steel and versus the Aqua True that has a plastic carafe, which would be leaching or which would be lead leaching. Thanks so much for all you do." Okay, so a couple things. I think there's like 3 parts to this. So I've recommended the Berkey since like 2010. I still recommend the Berkey. So it's not that I don't. I like them because let's say there's ever a power outage. You want something that will filter your water in an emergency, and a Berkey will do that. However, they're having issues right now with orders and filters. And so the thing is, like, I don't own Berkey. I have nothing to do with Berkey, honestly. And the problem is that there's, I don't know, like, let's just say there's 100,000 people a week that go to the resources page. We get so many questions about people asking, when will Berkey filters be in? Why doesn't Berkey sell their filters anymore? What's this about Berkey? And so my job, I don't want to disparage any company. They've been around a long time. I like the pioneers in the field, and Berkey was one of those pioneers. There's issues right now. And so I'm not here to disparage them, just like for Bob's Red Mill. I'm not there to disparage them. I'm there to promote them when they get themselves rebalanced. You know why? Because every person in this world and every company deserves a second chance and even a third chance. Right now, though, I can recommend to you Aqua True. That is, you can't get a more filtered water than really reverse osmosis. So it filters even better than Berkey. That's not comparable. Now you do have to plug it in. That's the downside, right? Like, so if there was ever a power outage, it needs to be plugged into a generator, or you don't have fresh water, right? So that's why I do like a backup. Like, I think that is important. All right. Having said that, the Aqua True. So yes, that's my recommendation. Why? Because the other thing too is, if I give you 4 different recommendations for water filters, people are like, well, what's one your really favorite? Well, right now my really favorite is Aqua True, and that's what I use. And it's very reasonable, like price-wise. I could give you whole house filters, all those things, and I will talk about that in the future. And we had them at our live conference last year. But this is the most reasonable for most families. Okay, a couple things. Plastic is not usually going to leach lead. It will leach PBAs and other toxins, no doubt about it. But the Aqua True has a glass carafe. So the Aqua True that I have and recommend, it's glass. It's actually not plastic. So what you drink out of is glass. So that's why I also feel comfortable. Now, again, Audrey, I appreciate you bringing it up. Like, I don't feel, that you're saying anything inappropriate. I like this. I like you to get the clarifying questions. So I appreciate you writing in. So Aqua True is what I recommend. You can find, we probably have a discount, and it's at stevencabral.com/resources if there is. And that's all my resources live there. And I always update it. That's the nice thing, is you'll always get my most up to date. Okay, Lara's up next. It says, hi, Dr. Cabral. In baking recipes, there's often tapioca starch or cornstarch. Same with gluten-free flours. If I want to substitute those in recipes or make my own gluten-free in a healthier way, what would be good substitutes? Are arrowroot or cassava flour good? Healthier options? As per my Google research, they are not interchangeable. Don't have the same effect? Do you have any suggestions? What does your family use in baking? Thank you, and happy healing, everyone. Thank you. Appreciate that, Lara. Happy healing is right to everybody. So I will tell you this. When I bake things, which isn't all that often. I'm not going to lie to you. But when I do, it's typically the gluten-free, dairy-free oat waffles and or pancakes that I make for my daughters on the weekend. And sometimes we will make cookies, and that's with real oats and oat flour as well. So I use mold-free and heavy metal-free oats. So that's what I use. So there's a bunch of great companies out there. 1 Degree is a great one. What's another good one? Anthony's oat flour is a good one. That's tested as well. I don't know if they test for mold. That's a good question, but 1 Degree, I believe, does. And so that's what I use, because it's pretty close to a 1-for-1, and that allows me not to have to do anything else. I don't use any of the tapioca starches. I don't use any of the cornstarch. I think for people's digestive system, it's not that great. Xanthan gum, not that great. I'll use a little guar gum, but I don't use that in baking. So what do I use? Well, it's oat flour, and then I use whatever the others are. Little sea salt, yes. A little bit of baking soda and or baking powder, yes, I use those. So that's what gives it a little bit of that rise. So I do that, and it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Typically, I will use an egg with baking, but some people just use a smashed banana or a little bit of flax gel that they can kind of create on their own. So that's what we use. I use cassava sometimes as well. I will say that. I love cassava, but doesn't always translate the best to pancakes and other baked goods. Arrowroot sometimes, not as much, but sometimes for sure. And then sometimes we use low gluten flours as well, like a specific spelt, or I know my wife uses a specific type of sourdough one that basically removes a lot of the gluten. So we use a few different types of things, but when it's me, I always do gluten-free for sure. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. Melissa's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Is it possible to heal group B strep? If so, what are the ways to do this? Thank you. All right, so I made a promise to myself. If I've already answered the question, I'm going to refer you to the podcast page if I've answered it multiple times. And that's just so I can catch back up, because I am about 12 weeks behind on your questions. I keep going every weekend, but we keep getting more questions. So Melissa, if you go to stevencabral.com/podcasts and you type in group B strep, I've done about 3 or 4 shows minimum on it. And here's the thing though, if you can't find it, let us know. Go to cabralsupportgroup.com, and the amazing Michelle or Daniel are going to be able to find you the podcast with that answer. And my answers haven't changed. So yes, you're able to heal, and I give you the specific ways. All right. So thank you for writing in. Desiree is up next. I've been told that our bodies more efficiently absorb animal nutrients and protein. And these nutritionists have references and studies to support this. Of course, all these people agree on getting your animal products from grass-fed, grass-finished, non-GMO, no hormones, pasture-raised animals. People also discuss anti-nutrients in vegetables, which I know can be greatly reduced with cooking. They urge people to use animal fats to cook with due to the low chance of oxidation, and that saturated fats have been unfairly demonized, with meat being one of the most nutrient-dense foods one can eat when properly sourced. I suppose my question is there validity to a diet that is more meat and animal centered? Also, what are your thoughts on absorption and anti-nutrients in vegetables versus meat? All right. So again, For people who've listened to the show for years now, I've answered this many, many times. But Desiree, I am going to give you a quick synopsis on this because I can't give you this full breakdown that I spend hours on many shows going over. So here's the thing: nutrients absorbed from eggs and fish and meat and organ meat and all of those things. Yes, absolutely, you can definitely absorb those to a high degree. There's no argument ever with me there, right? But when we look at saturated fats, yeah, but how much, right? How much are we talking about that? So it's not the belief, it's the quantity. It is never the belief, right? So here's the thing. I also did a show on olive oil and even avocado oil versus saturated fats with cooking as well. Now, I don't think that you should fry food in general. I just don't think that that's a healthy thing to do. I think your oils should always be added afterwards. You should bake your foods or cook your foods in that way. Now, if you're marinating, I give different recommendations as well, using some lemon as antioxidants. The whole thing about anti-nutrients is marketing. It is way overblown, like completely overblown. As someone who's done at least as much gut health testing as anyone else in the world, I can assure you that this is way overblown. It has to do more with digestive imbalances than anything else. Parasites, H. pylori, candida overgrowth, or SIBO. The same things people talk about with anti-nutrients are the same things that are considered anti-cancer, anti-cardiovascular, anti-blood pressure, and you can look those up as well. Now, there's no doubt about it, like for some individuals, they're more sensitive until they repair their gut. So it's never all or one. It's the main thing that we need to get out of our heads, and this includes everybody in the health profession. It is never all or one. Should your diet be all animal-based or all plant-based? Probably not, right? There's literally the best studies in the world, and the longest lived people in the world eat variations of a Mediterranean diet. That's irrefutable. There's no more research on anything in the world than the Mediterranean diet. Now, do you need to eat bread and pasta? No, you don't, right? But you can be on a predominantly plant-based diet, getting all those powerful antioxidants and polyphenols into your body, and still get some meat and fish and maybe some eggs. You can still do both. It doesn't have to be all in one side or the other. That's really where we've gone astray, is feeling that it can only be one or the other. Balance, create an equilibrium in your body, looking at your blood work as well as your at-home lab testing. That's how to dial it in for each individual. And if you haven't looked at your gut health, that's what we need to go, because most people that just take out all carbs and veggies and fruit, yeah, they feel better. But I've talked about this many times. It's because they had massive gut imbalances and they were just fermenting candida and or bacteria in the gut. Okay, thank you, Desiree, for that question. And now we're going to get into Steve's question. Steve is up next. Steve says, I have chronically low vitamin D levels. I also have Crohn's disease, which contributes to the low vitamin D, along with low iron, B12, and some other red flags. I have very high inflammation levels from both CRP and fecal calprotectin tests. I have been taking 10,000 IUs of D for a long time, and my D level on my most recent lab test was 23. I also live in Arizona and get quite a bit of sun. I've started taking 25,000 IUs a day of vitamin D along with K2 to see if it will be enough to get my vitamin D up. I really hate to go much higher than that, but I might have to. I'm starting to believe that I will never get my inflammation markers down if I don't get my vitamin D up. Thank you, Steve, for writing in. I totally see and understand where you're coming from. I actually don't usually recommend the 25,000 IUs a day. You'll see how that works for you, of course. You're most likely going to have to add a decent amount of magnesium with that, but I do have to say I can't give you any medical advice, medical cures, medical treatment plans of any type. So that's really important that I share that with you because, again, we're starting to get into the medical realm. Now, what I do recommend are two things. So most likely a little bit of that magnesium, but also getting it from the sun. You might actually start to absorb that better. The other is, and I get where you're coming from, it's like, I just need to keep raising vitamin D in order to help my inflammation. So although I do get where you're coming from, you want to improve your overall inflammation markers and get those down by improving your vitamin D and getting that up. It's going to have to work in a little bit different of an angle, in my opinion. What we need to do is help with the Crohn's and help with the digestion so that you can go back to normally absorbing vitamin D. So let me just share this in a different way. In conventional medicine, they would say and they're probably giving this recommendation, we need to get vitamin D levels up at all costs. But in my practice, and in integrative health, we would ask, Well, why is it going to take getting your vitamin D to 25,000 IUs a day when the average adult just needs about 4,000 to 5,000 IUs? So why do you need 25,000? We say, well, you're not converting it very well in the liver. You're not absorbing it through your stomach, whatever it might be. Okay, like I get it. I understand that. But still, the underlying root cause is a digestive issue. And it's Crohn's-based disease. Now, you might be thinking, well, Crohn's is incurable. And I think that's actually the issue. Now, Steve, I'm just putting your words in your mouth. I don't know if that's actually true. But Crohn's, like all dis-ease of the body, remember, we know how, in today's day and age, to cure everything except cancer. That's the truth. Now, there'll be a lot of people out there who tell you, oh, no, we know how to cure cancer too. Well, there are many people that cure cancer, both from a conventional medicine and a natural health perspective. And I'll be writing a massive, essentially, thesis on this. But it's not 100%, meaning like it's not, I like things, someone comes in with this, we follow a system and we do it until healed. You can do that for everything. Literally everything, as long as it's not terminal. At this point, except cancer. So I just want to share that because I want to be honest and unbiased. But that doesn't mean that if you get cancer, you're not going to try as hard as you can, right, to make sure that you heal. And that's also why I talk about early detection. You need to find it, right, at stage 1, right? You would find it early if you have to, obviously, if you get cancer. Okay, so that's that. My recommendation, work with an integrative health practitioner level 2. That's my recommendation. Run the Big 5 plus the bacteria and parasite stool test. That's my recommendation. We need to work on this from an underlying root cause level of stress and digestive dysfunction. That's my recommendation. All right. So thank you, Steve. I appreciate you writing in, and I get it. I understand where you're coming from, and you're on the right track. So I would just say, if you're using that much vitamin D, remember, it's going to pull calcium into your blood, and we might need to add just a little bit of magnesium. But again, no medical advice. All right. Desiree's up. Oh, it might be the same Desiree as earlier. I was wondering if you could do a product review on Fairlife Nutrition Plan 30-gram protein shake. I have a question about milk and dairy. I know you have an entire podcast on how it's essential to cut out dairy from cows, but I'm hoping as long as you get high quality dairy, does it make a difference? I'm a bit of a milk fiend, and cutting it out of my diet fills me with sadness. Thank you for everything you do. I just read your book and it's truly eye-opening, and I'm recommending it to everyone I know. Thank you, Desiree. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. Okay, I don't know anything about Fairlife. I'm happy to look them up, so I'll look them up another time, and if I feel it's appropriate, I'll absolutely give a recommendation for sure. Because in our private practice, we recommend all sorts of different protein-based drinks as people need more protein. So no problem at all. Milk and dairy. Well, it's actually, it's fairly straightforward for me to answer this. If you drink cow's milk and you get bloating or gas, it's no good. If you drink cow's milk and you get inflammation or puffiness or grogginess or a skin rash or a headache or mucus production, it's no good. And if you have any health-based issues, autoimmune, etc., I typically recommend cutting it out. Now, if you want to know from you, especially if you don't have any of those, and you're like, well, maybe I have an inflammatory issue from what's called a delayed reaction, IgG, immunoglobulin G reaction. That's when you run the food sensitivity test. So I don't know the link, unfortunately, but if you go to stephencabral.com/labs and then click on food sensitivity test, that you can take it right from home. Like literally, you can just run that at home for you. If you have any kids or parents, everybody can run it. So that will tell you. So just literally run the lab, like that's it. And then you'll know. Now, it does make a difference. So what's the best form of cow's milk or milk in general? The best form of dairy is from goat or sheep. For humans, without a doubt, it's goat or sheep. Like it's really hard to argue that. And the reason is that it's so much easier to assimilate. We're talking about much smaller animals. Like it's just way easier. It's easier to digest proteins. There's less casein. Okay. Anyway, let me go back. So grass-fed, yes. Raw, even better. Grass-finished, absolutely. And no antibiotics, no recombinant bovine growth hormone, no estrogens. So yeah, as clean a cows as possible. And if you can get it less from maybe milk, but more as like a healthier version of a cheese or a yogurt or a quark or a lassi or anything like that, then yeah, even better. So I think that there's a time and place. I don't think you need to completely eliminate it. Every once in a while, I'll have some goat cheese. I try to stay away from cow's milk dairy, but again, like every once in a while, if this is not something that you're sensitive to, then I don't think that it's, especially if it makes you sad. We don't want you sad, Desiree, right? So we can add a little bit in. All right, everybody, that's our last question of the day. I appreciate you tuning into today's show. I'll be back tomorrow with our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Don't miss it. Take care. Hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Just make sure you are already aware that we are beginning our global community detox this January 8th. Last year, we had close to 50,000 people complete a functional medicine detox by Equalife during that week. Now, whether you're completing a 7-day, 14-day, or 21-day, January is the best time to start. We will support you with everything that you need at CabralSupportGroup.com. So CabralSupportGroup.com, all your questions, we will answer them right there. But if you want to save or join 3 or 4 of your friends with this detox this coming January, we can't recommend enough. If you're looking to improve your overall sleep or mind or inflammation or hormones or weight loss or so much more, the Equalife Functional Medicine Detox is the best place to start. All of our wellness-based clients start here. It sets the stage to make every protocol, whether it's wellness, weight loss, weight gain, or anti-aging, that much better. Simply put, the detox opens up the pathways for the body to be able to heal. You can find out details by going to StephenCabral.com/detox. I also have a free detox course if this is new to you at StephenCabral.com/courses. Click on the detox course. It's completely free. You'll learn more about liver and functional medicine detoxification, the number one thing you can be doing every 12 weeks, but you start the new year as the best place to go. Now, one more thing. If you do sign up this week, you'll actually get 1 free. So buy 3 functional medicine detoxes by Equalife, get 1 free. Saves you $99. And if you're doing a 21-day, you just complete those 3 7-day detoxes, save another one for the next quarter. Or you can get 4 friends together and you can just split the cost. Find out all the details right now and join us for the largest global functional medicine detox in the world with over 27 countries participating at StephenCabral.com/detox.